All right, welcome. Joe and Rise. Did I say that? Rise, Reese. If I mispronounce your name, please let me know. We kind of got a lot of stuff to get through today, being that it's our first kind of first time meeting. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Again, some of this stuff at the beginning here is not exactly going to be the most exciting. It's kind of the nitty gritties, how our class is organized, how our class is run. But we got to talk about it. It's important stuff. So, for example, the first thing we're going to talk about is grading. Okay, how are your grades going to be calculated? What are we doing for that? Again, I like to talk about this just so you know. Again, I always say I don't give out grades. Grades are earned. I will say this is pre-calculus, okay? And so it's designed to prepare you for calculus. So it's a higher level course, okay? There will be some challenging topics, some challenging um, problems. That's okay. Again, it is designed to prepare you for calculus. We've probably got, we're all either juniors or seniors. If you are thinking about going to college, calculus is almost always at least calculus is usually required for a lot of classes. All business classes usually will at least calculus. If you get into an engineering or a math type of degree, you will definitely have to take more than just calculus, at least Calc 1. So the way that their grading is set up is quarter one and quarter two. For your semester grade, 40% of it is quarter one, 60% of it is quarter two. Now you might say, why is it different? There's more days in quarter one, and there's an additional category in quarter two that I will talk about in a second. So we've got three categories for quarter one. The first one is 20% formative. Now, I want you, when you hear the word formative, to think practice. Okay. So again, this is all about how do we practice our skills? I don't expect you to be perfect the first time you try something. Okay. That seems unrealistic. So if you notice, this would be considered our classwork or our homework. These are like your assignments. And again, you get 3 attempts. Okay. So I give you 3 attempts so that if you do make a mistake, you can try it again. Okay. I believe in having a growth mindset where we're always learning, we're working to get better. So if you do make a mistake, say you get maybe a 2 out of 5 on an assignment, go back, try it again. If you have questions, reach out and ask. Okay. That's why I give you 3 attempts is I want you to try again. I want you to learn from your mistakes. So formative makes up 20% of our grade and it's practice. Our second category is our class connects. So again, if you're on it right now, that's awesome. 20% is made up of class connects. These are required. If you can't make the actual meeting, which again, we have 2 people in right now, awesome. If not, you are required to watch the recording. And there is a type of like assignment or some type of either it's going to be a problem or something that I'm going to talk about in this meeting that again, you'll have to do in order to show that you were present, that you completed the class connect for the week. So again, you can't just log in. If I can't see any of your faces right now, so I have no clue. You could be making TikTok dancing videos or watching YouTube. So again, there will be one type of assignment this week. It's super, super easy, and we're going to make it very clear as to what is expected of you. And the third category, and this is kind of the big important one, 60% summative. Wow. Again, I've been cruising all day. I've had a lot of coffee. You could tell on that. 60% is summative, and this is basically your tests, your quizzes, and if we had a project, it'd be like your big projects. Okay. So this is the show me what you know. Now, it is set up so that you get 1 attempt on tests and quizzes. I am open to giving you opportunities to either earn points back, to retake maybe a quiz, depending on, the type of assessment. Now, with that being said, I need you to reach out to me, 1, to request that, and 2, it doesn't make sense to me that if I got a 60% on a test, I'm not magically going to learn this information overnight. So if you are asking to redo an assessment, a summative assessment, I'm going to require that you either do additional practice problems, you come to my drop-in hours, we work through it, because it could be you're making the same mistake over and over and over again, and we just have to correct one thing. It could be that you just need more practice. So if you do want to redo something like that, it's going to require some additional effort, and there's going to be some other type of work before I allow you to do that. Again, I'm more than willing to do it, but that is, again, a part of you being the responsible learner that you have to reach out and ask me about that. As far as quarter two, it's basically the same except for one difference. Okay. Class connects. Summative is only 50% because you're going to have a semester final worth 10%. So you take 10% out of your summative and you add it into a semester final. So that's the only difference between that. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, you can type it in the chat box. You can unmute and ask. You can email me, anything like that. As far as what do we need to be successful in class, there's going to be 3 apps that I need you to download. Okay, there's going to be 3 apps that are important for us. And again, how do you download apps? You go to this 4-colored box in the bottom right here. It's called self-service. The first app that you're going to need to download, and okay, there's actually 4. I just saw this. If you don't have the Gmail app on your iPad, you need to download the Gmail app because that allows you to sign in with Google. So again, if you don't have the Gmail app, download that. That was not part of my presentation. I literally just saw an email 5 minutes before class that was saying that. And I know one of our students was having problems getting onto Desmos, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you need to download the Desmos graphing calculator, okay? App number 1, Desmos graphing calculator. Especially in pre-calc, you either have to have a graphing calculator, like I have right here, or again, this Desmos app is free. You don't necessarily have to buy a graphing calculator. You can use this app. It wouldn't hurt to download the scientific calculator as well. But I believe most everything we need to do, we can do on the Desmos graphing. Okay, that's app number 1. App number 2 that you need to make sure you have. So again, if you need to download Gmail, go ahead and do that. App number 2 that you need to have is Notability. Okay, so Notability is what I use. It's basically a notebook. Okay, so you can, again, you can annotate, you can draw. If I give you a worksheet, you can input that worksheet right into Notability. You can write all over it. You can use your finger, or you can use a stylus like I have. Okay, it's very nice. It's super clear. Again, you've got all kinds of options. Change pen colors, highlighter. You can move stuff. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller. Okay, so again, you need to download Notability to be successful. And the third app, and it's really important, is you notice that there's 2 Schoology apps. This Schoology app is like the application-based app, but it doesn't allow us to do everything we need to do. So if you download the Schoology web clip, and again, this runs through Safari. So if you ever get, like, if I pull up my Schoology app, I get this. This activity is not available right now. That's because I'm using the app. However, when I download this other one, the Schoology web clip, it's a shortcut and immediately logs into Safari and opens it up this way. So this is going to allow me to do everything that I need to do to be successful. So again, let's not use the Schoology app, the one that's white. Okay, we want to use the black one that has a white S inside of it, this one, because it brings us right to Safari. So those are the 3 apps that you need to be successful. I'm going to change how I share my screen, and then we're going to talk about Schoology, and again, how it's set up, how it works. All right. So this is math 7. I don't want math 7. I want pre-calc. I do teach 5 different classes. So if you're ever stuck, if you're ever not sure what to do, go to the semester 1 pacing guide. Now you can see it here. If it ever doesn't show up, which I do apologize, one of my videos was very long. I had to upload it to YouTube. Click on the link here. So I always recommend if it's blue, you click on the link, it makes a new window. It's much easier and nicer to see. Now, if you notice, okay, we've got our week 1. If you look down here, we've got week 2. Anything in black is assigned but not graded. Anything in red is graded. Okay. So again, you'll notice what I do is I open everything up on Monday and everything's due the following Sunday. So every Monday I'll go through, I'll make sure everything from the previous week is graded, and then I'll upload that to Infinite Campus. Make sure you're looking at Infinite Campus for your grades. Schoology is not necessarily, each assignment is graded, but your overall grade in Schoology may not be accurate. Okay. So if you're ever stuck, go to the pacing guide. It'll tell you what you need to do. We're doing Class Connects. So again, let's just talk about that. We've got this nice document. Again, I like to click on it and open a new window. If you ever are stuck, you just look at this. This link will take you right to our Class Connect. For those of you who are not here, again, you're going to have to click on the recording link. After I upload it to YouTube, I'll post the link. Okay. And then it'll tell you what your assignment is. And it is right there. So again, this is a working document. I will be uploading it or updating it as needed. Notice, I tried to keep all the times the same. However, there's a conflict next week. Next week, we meet at 1 o'clock. So again, if you can attend, awesome. If not, you'll have to click on the recording link. Okay, let me see here. So one thing I wanted to pull up is if you look on week 2, okay, it says the join Desmos classroom. Okay, there's a link. Again, I recommend you click right here to open a new window. And you can sign in. Now, again, I got to go to the teacher version. I'll tell you who's logged in and who hasn't. So we will kind of use this app again. Desmos is super nice. We've got cool stuff on here that we can do. So of our students, these are the people that have logged in. The rest of you, I need you to click on that code and enter it. Okay, get logged into this. There's like a slope activity that we will do. Okay, so again, you can type it, go here, you can type this in, or you can click that link and it should populate and you should jump right in. If you haven't done that yet, please do that. All right, back to Schoology. I gotta figure out how to move the top of this thing. There it is. All right. So again, I apologize. This video was way too long. If you notice, I broke the other lessons down into 3s. I try to keep the videos around 10 to 15 minutes. This one got way too long. Again, it doesn't show up for me. So I click this unit 1, lesson 2, and then it pops up on YouTube. Okay. So again, if you ever get something like this where it doesn't show up, all you need to do is click on the link. So you've got some assignments. Again, why do we need to use that Schoology web clip? If you look, for example, here, okay, so let's preview this. I will ask you to do this stuff in class. Again, I need to show work. So it's not necessarily important that I have just the answer correct. I need to see work. So like right now I'm on my desktop. I can use my mouse to do it. If I was on my iPad, again, it's way easier in my opinion to use your finger or your stylus. So again, you can change colors, you can do work, and we're actually going to do this problem in a second. So again, if you had trouble with this, is kind of a difficult problem. If you had trouble with this, we will do this problem in class today. All right. So I just want to review some stuff. Again, I'm going to change how I share the screen. I'm going to jump to my iPad and we're going to work on some review. So again, my expectation, if you've ever heard of a flipped classroom before, is that you try the problem, like you watch the instructional videos before we meet. That's why I'm meeting on Thursdays, is that I want you on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to look through stuff, to try stuff on your own, and then we can answer questions. This week was different. Again, I had to talk about all that other stuff that I don't really like talking about. Now we get to talk about math. So a normal class, I'd give you problems, you would try them, we would troubleshoot, answer questions, so on and so forth. So our first lesson, the big magical word of the day, and again, you could see we did this on Desmos, slope. Okay? Slope is a huge concept in math. It is basically rise over run, which we can call that as this triangle symbol means change. So the change in y over the change in x, which we can calculate by subtracting two y values, subtracting two x values. Okay? Multiple ways to talk about slope, to think about slope. We also looked at graphs. So again, we might have to look at a graph, and this again, notability is pretty cool. Let's get a grid. There we go. Let's get a little bigger one. Okay? So we could have something like this where I might say, hey, here's my graph. I've got an equation. It's just a super easy one, straight line. Okay, I could look and I could say my rise is up one, my run is over one, up one, over one, up one, over one. So I could calculate this. Again, let's call this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If this point was 4, 4, and this point was 1, 1, I would say, okay, I'm going to call this x1, y1. I'm going to call this x2, y2. And I'm going to use this formula to calculate the slope. So 1 subtract 4 here and here, all over 1 subtract 4, negative 3 over negative 3, which equals positive 1. So this is a slope of 1 over 1, which is pretty basic. We can see that one. That's not very complicated. What does get a little trickier is when we start adding curves to it and exponents and so on and so forth. So I'm going to draw a graph, something like this. Okay, again, these go on forever. So we got to talk about some stuff. One of the things we talked about was our relative maximum and our relative minimum. Now, again, the word is relative, and I didn't draw it perfect. Okay, I was just freehanding this. But this point is negative 1, 2. So I would say that this is my relative maximum, okay, is at the top of my point, the top of my curve. Whereas this would be my relative minimum at 1, 2, 3, x is 3, y is negative 3. Okay, so this would be my relative minimum. We also have like sections of our graph that are increasing or decreasing. So again, I would say that, let's get a different color. Let's say that this section right here, all the way to this point, I would say is increasing. Increasing. And again, this arrow goes all the way to negative infinity. We can never reach negative infinity. So we say that, and it's increasing all the way to, I'm looking at my x coordinates. So I'm going to say increasing from negative infinity to 1. But it also is increasing here as well. So I would also say I have to have two sections. I would say and, or I would combine them. I would say from x is 3 all the way to positive infinity. Okay. Again, this arrow signifies that it goes all the way up. And then again, similar but slightly different, we've got our decreasing section. Okay, so again, this is decreasing. So I would say it's decreasing from, again, x is negative 1 to x is 3. And then as far as functions, you'll be asked if functions are even or odd. Okay. So again, an even function is that if you take your function and you plug in a negative x and you get the exact same answer. So a real simple one is if I just draw x squared. So right here, 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 here. This is a parabola. Looks something like this, goes on forever, goes on forever. If I were to take the function, so again, this is 1, 1. If I said, hey, x is 1, when x is 1, y is 1. However, if I take when x is negative 1, y is still equal to 1. So this I would consider an even function because, again, if I took x is 2, when the function of 2, y is 4. When I take negative 2, y is still 4. Odd, the classic example for odd is x to the third. Okay, so f of x equals x to the third. And it kind of looks something like this. So it's where, again, if I took the definition of odd, okay, is that when I take f of x, it's going to equal negative f of x. So my y value. So again, if I look here, I have x is 1, y is 1. And then when I look down here, I see, hey, x is negative 1, y is negative 1. Okay, so it's kind of flip-flopping. So that's kind of our definition of odd. And so my final kind of example, and again, this was that problem that we did on lesson 2, unit 1, lesson 2, part 2. Just wanted to go through it, the difference quotient, because again, this can be difficult to do. So 3x subtract 1. So again, you could find this on Schoology. You could do this right with us. So how we calculate the difference quotient is we add in an h, and then we subtract our original function. So every time I look at this problem, okay? Every time I see an x, I'm going to add an h. So I'm going to type my function 3 parentheses x plus h minus, let's see here, g of x is parentheses 3x subtract 1. This is super important that you keep this outside, and you'll see why, and it's all over h. So let's start distributing. This negative gets distributed into each term, okay? And this is not an h. This should be a negative 1, okay? So again, I got to plug that in. 3x plus h. Oh, I apologize. Here, let me redraw this. Okay, let me rewrite it. So g of x plus h minus 1 minus 3 x plus 1 or x minus 1. And again, geez, my brain is scrambled right now. This is not a g, this is a 3 because I'm substituting this in. And then again, I have an h down here. Now we can distribute 3 times x, 3 times h, negative 3 times x, negative times negative 1. And so 3 times x is 3x, 3 times h is 3h, subtract 1, minus 3x, negative times a negative is a positive. And again, you should notice, hey, things are going to cancel out. So I know that these are going to cancel out. And I know that negative 1 plus 1 is also going to cancel out. And now this was one mistake I saw, kind of common mistake, is to forget about your denominator. So all I'm left with is 3h over h. And we know that 2 divided by 2 cancels out, 5 divided by 5 cancels out. Therefore, h divided by h cancels out. So your difference quotient is 3. So that's an assignment from earlier this week. We're kind of running out of time. What is your assignment for the Class Connect? Let me show you. Again, super easy. If I go to pre-calc, I go to my Class Connect folder and I click on the assignment. All it says is, what are the 3 apps you need to be successful? Again, those are Desmos, Notability, and Schoology web clip. And then we did kind of add a 4th one, which was Gmail. But again, the first 3 are the ones that I'm looking for: Desmos, Notability, Schoology web clip. That's all I've got for you guys today. Again, go ahead and get that taken care of. And we will see you next week at 1 o'clock. Next week at 1 o'clock. Have a great rest of your day. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. Bye, Joe.